Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. That's me. I'm finally back with some analysis. So I've been busy. I've been starting a new job, moving, doing a lot of just stuff, and haven't really had a ton of time to put together my face into a video and talk over it. So you're in for a treat today. This is going to hopefully be a short little glimpse into my thoughts on the playoffs, how I've enjoyed them so much, and just looking towards the future of the World Series. So if you haven't seen any of the videos, spoilers are close, make sure you check them out and come back here and watch what I think, of course, about all of this. To be frank, the TLDR is that this has been one of the wildest playoffs in a while. I feel like nothing has been as expected. You think the game's going to go one way, and it completely flips on its head, because I think this year, as you see great players step up in big moments, and some of them stepped up in the NLCS, some of them stepped up in the ALCS, NLDS, ALDS. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Man, the first game of the playoffs was an absolute rout by the Preds. 5-0 in the second game and 9-3 in the first game. Crying Crash looked absolutely amazing. Pitched lights out. They played so well on offense, like 3 home runs, and I think both games, like absolutely insane. And the Wildcats looked lost. Couldn't get the bat together, and they usually do. And their pitching, which had been a struggle up and down all season, I mean, it really showed that they've got to go to the drawing board and work on some things, because, man, the Preds had them figured out. And it's going to be tough for them to get past them in the future if they can't figure out exactly how to beat them. It seems like, whatever Nick and Kyle were doing last year, they've watched, and they've really, I mean, it's tough to play a team, twice and beat them. And, man, it was Preds all day. Now, in the second series, you had the Eagles and the D-backs. And the Eagles looked like they didn't know how to respond after the D-backs came back. They played their style of game in Game 1. They really made the D-backs have to play their game, and Dallas looked really sharp. But I think the experience of the D-backs to come back in clutch situations really helped them. Shima and Heath were contributing for what it felt like the first time all season. Not to say that they didn't contribute at all, but just like the amount and the impact that they had was greater than they had all season. Their defense has always been solid. Like, their chemistry is so good, but it finally felt like Jimmy didn't have to carry the load all himself in those games. D-backs rallied from 3-0 in the second game, and then they completely dominate in the second game. It just looked absolutely easy. Now, in the third series, of course, we had the Preds and the Cobras, and this is probably one of my favorite series of all time, easily. The Preds took the Cobras by surprise in Game 1. The offense that they had carried from the Wildcats game carried into Game 1, and it looked like pretty much hopeless. It looked like the Cobras were on the final ropes. They were bases loaded in that final inning, and it looked like, they weren't being able to make it. Early in the season, like, the Cobras had some struggles trying to figure out exactly way the chemistry worked, and it looked like they couldn't get the offense together to win. And Baranowski was one of the most clutch players all season, and he's clutch again in this game. Gets out of a jam from bases loaded, and you only do that if you can throw strikes. And Baranowski just threw strikes and was able to get the Preds to either hit it, pop it up, or he was able to get him to strike out. And it was just an amazing game to watch. Flynn, I mean, was just one guy stepped up in that game to help them out, because Ryan Crash was just pitching lights out. I mean, he had played so well. I mean, if he can, I mean, this is going to be, 2019, 2020-esque Ryan Crash, like, gonna win MVP if he continues the way he does. But Baranowski and Sean Flynn and Drew Davis didn't let that happen. It took really 2 hits. I mean, 2 hits were the difference in this game. The Preds could not get them, and the Cobras did. I mean, if you probably play this series 5 times over, like, if you play this game over and over and over again, like, it'll probably be split 50-50 down the middle. Like, it's just that tough. for anybody to get an upper hand in this. And the Cobras won. I mean, they were clutch. They had a guy who they could count on in clutch situations, and their batting was just enough to beat the Preds. Baranowski figured him out in that last game, and the Cobes just were picking their spots and were able to win that game. And then in the last game, the Downtown Diamondbacks versus the Mallards. I mean, absolutely wild. The D-backs win both their games off 1-0 victories in the first and the third. And Jimmy Norp pitched absolutely amazing in those games. Of course, the second game was a struggle. The Mallards really came back. They had a great first inning. They responded so well after going into 8 innings deep and being tired, after not really getting able to see Norp. And they took the lead. I mean, you were thinking, okay, they finally woken up. They finally gotten the offense going. Like, if the Mallards could put that offense together, they could be really good. But in that third game, Jimmy Norp threw his first perfect game. I mean, how clutch is that? Clutch players are great in big moments, and Jimmy Norp was absolutely amazing. And now they're going to SoFi, and the Cobras are going to SoFi. I mean, if you were going to put who are the most clutch players into the balance and see who got voted for the most, I mean, it's Baranowski and Jimmy Norp. And it doesn't really matter about records anymore, right? It matters about what you're doing, who you play, and how you play. It's a best of 5 in SoFi. So I'm really excited to watch. I don't know who I would pick to win this game, because I feel like Jimmy Norp's highs are so high, but he also has the chance to have a really low game. Baranowski's been consistent all season, but the Cobras' bats have been inconsistent, and so have the D-backs. So you kind of have these guys who are feeding off a lot of fire, feeding off a lot of chemistry, feeding off a lot of just good things happening. There's going to be so much momentum in this game, and finding plays and ways to get that momentum back is going to be huge. I mean, and it's kind of one of those things. It's going to be the intangibles. It's going to be defense. It's going to be being able to read pitchers over a long period of time. It's going to be able to know your pitches, know your arm slots. Being able to have that smart play is going to be instrumental in deciding who wins this game. I know Drew studies a lot. I know Jimmy studies a lot. These guys have been waiting. These guys are ready to play this game. And it's, you would have thought that 2020, when Jimmy first came in the game, that he struggled a little bit, right? He struggled against the Cobras. And now, in order to go back-to-back, which is the first time it's ever been done since in an 8-team playoff, in the 8-team era, it would be the first time that someone's gone back-to-back in one of the toughest MLW seasons there's ever been. So there's so many storylines. This is going to be a great documentary no matter what happens. So I hope you're excited as I am. I hope you're ready to see this. I'm so excited. And they're playing in SoFi. Like, who doesn't love SoFi? So let me know what you all think in the comments. Let me know where your head lies. How do you feel about the Eagles floundering? How do you feel like the Wildcats floundering a little bit in the playoffs? And what do you feel about the Preds and the Mallards? Like, what went wrong? How can they improve? What are the draft picks for next season? All of that I'll be going over later, but I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I'll see you all later. I'm excited to bring more content, hopefully. Maybe do some player interviews, maybe do some other things. I never got to talk about my experience at Michigan, which was absolutely amazing. I love meeting everybody, and I haven't really got to talk about it much, but I'm very excited for the future of this channel, and I hope you're all too. So please subscribe, hit like, and I'll see you on the flippity flip. Peace.